Bo'el Paro. The final stage of the 10 plagues are before us. Moshe Rabbeinu is already well experienced with Paro. He knows what he could expect. He is pretty aware of where the Jewish people are standing as well. And as a leader, he has made great strides. Moshe is told by God, come together with me. We need to wrap this up. We have a few more plagues to bring upon Egypt, and then the Jewish people will be ready to leave. I would like to take a look at the end of the parasha. So much has happened. And now the Jewish people are being prepared for the final day. Moshe comes and informs the people. You need to take a lamb, tie it to your bedposts, and be prepared. Because in just a few short days, we are going to sacrifice this lamb, and we're going to leave Egypt as free men. Could you imagine what kind of a reaction Moshe must have gotten? Are you out of your mind? You want us to take an Egyptian god and tie him to our beds to let the Egyptians know that we're going to be killing their god? Could you imagine what courage was required of the average man to be able to fulfill Moshe's instructions? Indeed, the Torah itself tells us that each and every person was told to prepare for their family and for the family next door. And the blood from the lamb would have to be put on the bed doorposts to symbolize that this is a Jewish home. Because indeed, many would need this sign. Let me ask you a simple question. What's the deal with the matzah? Why do we eat matzah? So the Torah tells us it's because there was no time. And the Jews had to bake matzah very quickly because they were being kicked out of Egypt in the middle of the night. I don't get it. Look at the timeline. On the 10th of Nisan, the Jewish people were told to tie the lamb to the bedposts. They were told that the Exodus is going to be after the 14th, the night of the 15th. That gave them at least 4 full days to prepare. So the plague of the firstborn starts precisely at midnight. And the Torah tells us that Paro and all of his servants get up and they run out into the streets and they start saying, everybody out, get out, all the Jews leave. When did Am Yisrael leave Egypt? Torah is quite clear. Be'etzem hayom hazeh yatz'u tzivot Hashem Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. Why be'etzem hayom hazeh tells us the Medrash? God wanted to make sure that the Jewish people leave in midday. Precisely in the middle of the day so the whole world could see it. Because the Egyptians were saying that even if the Jews tried to leave, we would slay them and kill them and not let them go. Said God, just as with Abraham's bris and with Noach's entrance into the Teva, we are going to do this now, in the middle of the day, and let the whole world see, and let's see if anyone could stop me. If that's the case, then from nighttime until midday, there was plenty of time. How long does it take to bake a loaf of bread? It's not that complicated. Why have to bake matzah? Well, indeed, the Baal Haggadah asks us a fundamental question. In between the lines, a question that each and every one of us should be asking as we read through these parashot. Well, my dear friends, if you were in Egypt at that period of time, how do you think you would have behaved? What do you think you would have done? You know, I'm not too sure that I would be so confident in which I could believe Moshe Rabbeinu and I would really believe that we're leaving. I'm not so sure that I would have risked my neck and stood up to the Egyptian soldiers. It took a tremendous amount of faith to be able to do what Moshe was asking. And in fact, it seems to be that the majority of the Jewish people weren't that confident. Moshe deliberately doesn't go and speak to the whole people. He goes and speaks to the elders. He hopes they will do the job of delivering it further to the people. This is why each and every family was commanded to prepare for a family nearby, because so many waited until the last minute, and in a panic went to find a Jewish household in which they could sit and partake of the Korban Pesach, of the Paschal Lamb, so they too would be taken out to freedom together with Moshe. So many had no intention of going with Moshe, but suddenly found themselves thrown out of their homes in the middle of the night and kicked out. And indeed, the minute the dynamics began, the Erev Rav, a mixed collection of assimilated people of other nations that came running to join the Jewish people as they were leaving into freedom. It is because of this that we commemorate these events with the matzah. The matzah representing to us the need to take a stand, the need to have faith, bitachon in Hashem, even when everything seems the opposite. Yes, indeed, matzah already existed as part of the eating of the Korban Pesach, because the message, even those that were loyal, was, look what happens without true faith in Hashem. You must always remember to have faith even in the darkest hours. And even if it will require a great deal of courage, you need to step up and do the right thing. Am Yisrael showed its greatness here because the core, the nucleus of Am Yisrael, was able to do an unbelievable act of courage and faith. And by caring about every single other Jew, they made sure to be prepared and made sure that they had ample supplies to feed everyone that came along. If only we would merit in our generation to have such courage and have such deep caring for one another. Truly, the final stage of redemption, of Heveti etchem el haaretz, will come to full fruition, and we will merit to see the hand of God in every day of our lives. Shabbat Shalom.